Giant animals. Okay, this one's focusing more on both Kimba the white lion and Leo the lion, since both of them have their fair share of giant creatures in them. I've already talked about the giant grasshopper, but that's just one out of how many? I mean, we got giant snakes, giant birds, giant lizards, giant insects, heck, a giant gorilla, for heck's sake! Come to think of it, only the giant grasshopper, as sketchy as it was, had a reason for being so big. Not the rest of these kaiju over here. There's so many. There has to be a reason why this is happening. This is Kimba the white lion, not Godzilla. Well, maybe there is. And this is probably the sketchiest theory out of my bunch, but well worth it anyway. In Leo the Lion Cub, told you it's sketchy, had a chapter called the Red Rhino, who we learn had gotten his horn so big, debatable, from a place known as the Valley of Drought, in which if you bathe in the local hot springs, you will grow and grow huge. This place isn't that far away, just across the plains, so who's to say no other animals have already used it, or fell victim to it? I mean, some might have heard about it and went to use the water themselves, some might be by accident. But if the water can make animals grow that fast, then there's no doubt it can cause at least some animals invading to grow huge on arrival. They don't have to be bad either to be affected by this as well, as we have a few giant characters who are actually pretty kind, such as Dwymog the gorilla or Rancid the Riki bird. While I can understand the fact that Leo the Lion Cub is a spin-off of the original manga and the animated series focused on the original work, not the spin-off, but really, what other reason is there? The unspoken rule. When we look throughout the franchise, the rules in Kimba's kingdom are fairly easy. No fighting allowed, you can't eat each other, you have to be civilized and behave yourself. It's a fairly common theme, especially in the original series, which Kimba constantly tries to keep as intact or build on it. While not prominent in the 1989 series, the rule of animals not fighting is still fairly strong. When looking at all of this though, I do have one question. Where's the pride? Or rather, Kimba's pride. He's a lion, right? Lions have prides, and the franchise shows that it does exist alongside coalitions, an all-male or all-female group of lions. But when we look in Kimba's forest here, there isn't any pride to speak of. We see one in the Everett Mountains, we see one in a neighboring kingdom next door, and we see one while Kimba was exiled in the 1989 series. They do exist, but not in the jungle. Why is that? Because Panja forbade it. You notice that all lions that live in Kimba's jungle don't have a pride of their own? Claw the one-eyed lion? Bill the old lion? Silvertail the very old lion? All other side lions we see in his jungle are strictly male loners, none of them having a pride to speak of, and that's probably the biggest essential for being a lion, as in having one. But when you think about what Panja and Leo's main goals are, it's actually not that surprising to find no lion prides in the jungle. With a lion pride comes competition from outside males, and outside males comes fighting, which already is forbidden. But also there's the fact that lion males will kill the other male's cubs so the females can reproduce their offspring and pass their genes along. Again, something Panja will not allow and might actually be horrified about. If Panja or Leo would have the pride, it would risk bringing in outside danger to the jungle, or more than they already do. So the only way for a fellow lion to live there now is if he's a loner and will give up finding a pride completely. It's a case of principle versus tradition. I am not going to allow violence to happen in my jungle, even if I give up what I do as a lion to do so. Kimba the Magic Lion. Okay, just try and bear with me on this, please. It's very clear that the White Lions present in the franchise have done far more than most in the series. They're very strong, natural leading capabilities, very high stamina, and other things that make them a bit too good to be true. More on this later. It is true that White Lions, as rare as they are, do exist in the real world, and in universe they are just more so implied. But the manga gives us a very intriguing piece of information from Thrates regarding the origins of the species. In Volume 2, Chapter 6, it goes into detail about Kimba's royal ancestor Andropolis. The way the manga words this, though, seems to imply something a bit more, and the exact words go like this. I wish I could accomplish something that someone would notice, something other than my white lion cub Andropolis. So this implies two things. One, given the Egyptians' reaction to Andropolis, it implies that he is the very first white lion to exist. And secondly, it also implies that they are magical. We're looking at a family line of magic lions, born from Thrates' potion 4,000 years ago. I can already hear doubts on at least the magic lion's bed, but we've actually seen this magic throughout both the shows. Aside from all the physical combat stuff, let's go over some of the things Kimba's done. He can speak the human language after just a brief encounter with no prior practice, survive into adulthood without so much as eating a single bit of meat, can use just his tail to defeat his enemies, is immune to various other things such as hypnosis and paralyzing gas, can run for days on end without even breaking a sweat, and can even turn himself into a literal log of wood. Does any of that even sound remotely natural to you? Kimba the White Lion never happened. In Kimba the White Lion, when it comes to realism, and I used heavy quotes here, the most realistic it gets is in episode 1. No over-the-top slapstick humor, nothing too extravagant happens in it at first, and above all, it kept it real. Now compare that to, I don't know, fighting giant spiders, building amusement parks, building a post office. It's all kind of far-fetched to be sure, and while I can give it the benefit of a doubt, the sequel drops almost all of these things, though I've already talked about that. Here's the theory though. Right after Kimba jumps out of the boat, everything that happens afterwards is only dreams in his head, caused by him passing out in the sea. All the characters outside of Kimba himself were told through Eliza's stories of the jungle, and this also explains how he can survive and do all these impossible things so easily, and heck, taking charge to begin with. Now I can already tell you're rolling your eyes, but here's the kicker. Leo the Lion did actually happen. It told a completely different backstory, it's more realistic overall, and many of the fantasy elements were not present, including characters which Kimba thought he would see, just did not exist. I'm not saying nothing fantastic shows up, but they don't show up as often as the previous series, and as for carried over elements, the only main one's the farm, which, let's be honest, is fairly easy to do, and heck, probably thought up by Kimba himself from said dreams. Also, the names of all the characters have in the original series are made up by Kimba, including his own, which he didn't learn meant coward until after actually getting there. To summarize, Leo the Lion is real, Kimba the White Lion is all a dream. Well guys, that's all the theories I can come up with which involve Jungle Emperor, at least from what I got already. It was actually a lot of fun working on the theories for this video, especially for a series as expansive as this. So in regards, I hope you enjoyed, and if you got your own theories and ideas, please feel free to let me know. I'll see you all later. Neon out.